Oh, we do have a shot. Okay.
Ballers.
Looks. Hey, everyone, can you hear us? Type.
We're not ready yet.
Type
Okay?
16.
We are not ready. All right. Put that cigarette out.
Type 16 if you can hear us.
We're
All right.
still
Cool.
discussing.
Sit on the couch.
Do we
Yeah,
got
come
audio
sit on
this?
this. You can.
Is this $100 an hour?
That's about enough strategizing.
Don't rush me, okay?
All right, Mossy is already
I'll hold chunk
a
of
little
jam.
upset. Get his shades on. Yeah, get him looking good. All right, so we've got 4 teams here. We got the Ballers.
Introduce yourself first.
Well, of course, I'm Gooey Fame.
Everyone knows Gooey.
Of course.
I'm Lulu, if
Yeah,
no one
Lulu.
has seen me yet.
I'm Corey. I'll be over there in a second.
We've got our lovely Faces of Evil team here.
Yeah.
And of course, the Majora team here.
Yeah.
Oh, look, you do have a visual.
Nice.
You might want to scoot so Corey can get in here.
I'll sit down in a second.
So yeah, let's run down our teams we got here. We've got the Ballers.
Ballers is that's McKenna and Justine.
So kind of Justine was here last year. I don't remember if she did the puzzle, but it's kind of a new team, you know.
It is.
We've got the Orion Project, who is
The Orion Project is Locke and Andrew, and I've been told that's the team to beat.
yeah,
they
that's
seem like they're
those are the
they're the
whiz
top
kids,
spot.
you know what I
Yeah.
mean? The ZD whiz kids for sure. And then we've got Mash,
Mosh. They pronounce it
Mosh.
Mosh.
which is of course the dynamic duo of Mossies and Josh.
Yes.
So yeah, place your
they're,
bets, I guess, right?
They're strategizing right now. They need a little more time.
Yeah,
apparently.
we
I think the Ballers have got this one. Just from the get-go, they're ready to go. I was in there a moment ago, and Mosh, they are just totally falling apart before this thing has even started.
yeah,
Mosh seems like a mess.
they're letting their
They're a
emotions
mess.
take control.
Can't get emotional when doing a puzzle.
Yesterday I
Just
saw when we had that Breath of the Wild puzzle, and there was a group over there. You know, I got to see some of people's, early puzzling abilities, and
They don't know. They don't know what we know.
Locke didn't surprise me, obviously, but McKenna was in there throwing down some pieces,
Yeah, you would-
slinging pieces left and right.
McKenna has been working on the that optional puzzle back there for multiple days now.
Absolutely,
so
yeah.
she could definitely be an underdog.
She's gained a lot of skill. Yeah, I mean, Locke, you would think Locke is just gonna come in here and blow out the competition, but I'm not so sure. He seemed pretty even with the rest of the crew trying
Well,
to work
Locke
on.
was back there quite a bit as well.
He
I
was.
sat back there with him for a bit. I got about 2 pieces in. I'm pretty sure he got about at least 5 or 6.
Right.
I
You know,
think
another aspect of this that I think we got to factor in is that I feel like the Ballers, they're going to work well together as a team. We know that Mosh, they're going to butt heads constantly.
That's true.
And then, with bright minds of the Orion Project, they're probably going to be arguing left and right as well.
With Mosh,
I don't know about that one.
You got
You don't think
Mossy's.
so?
Listen, Mossy's is trying to write all the rules here. He's trying to 100% coach
As
this
always.
team when it should be a team effort. It shouldn't be one person telling everybody what to do, but of course it's Mossy's, so he's just trying to run the show, and I think that's going to be their downfall.
Do we want to check in and see if they're ready?
Yeah, let's yell at
This pregame analysis, Captain.
You guys got to wrap it up. I mean, let's go.
They're good. They're ready.
You want some analysis of the back box? Or
Yeah, we
Okay.
got to show them the
Can I
puzzle.
have this?
No, this is my puzzle.
Okay.
So one thing, so we were discussing strategy here,
Yeah.
and we're looking at this for like 5 minutes, and we got it down, and then we turned it around and see
It's
this,
bigger.
and there's this stupid garbage here.
Oh, so this is the border of the puzzle?
I think so. We
Okay.
don't know for sure, but I think so.
Okay.
We don't know if this is in the puzzle.
The little triangles in the back and stuff?
No,
and the logo and everything?
Maybe we should start making it and see.
Yeah. So we were going with this, and this is easy. And then this is like, this is one notch.
You just gotta jump into it.
But jumping in is a lot easier
And jumping off.
Yeah.
We'll see how this affects the.
So we got a strategy. So I'm gonna give you some insight into our strategy.
You're separating the blues from the browns.
the hell is the
clouds
Orion
and the greens.
project?
Show this to
I
the
heard you
camera
right
while
there.
you're
I already
telling
heard
them.
you. Strategy.
Oh,
Creativity.
we're going
It's
with
good strategy.
We're going with FTB strategy. It's called
Finish
fuck
the board.
Just like what they call
No, fuck the board.
Oh,
I mean,
Okay.
I can get down with that.
As everybody, well, everybody can
Ooh,
see.
why are you here playing?
I'm commentating.
You're not playing?
Well, there's
It
two,
makes it
2,
even.
and 2.
Oh, then Corey's playing?
No, it's 2, 2, and 2.
Oh,
I mean,
it
they
makes
can
it
jump on a
even.
team.
It was
if they want.
specifically designed so it needs to be a handicap match.
What?
So 2, 3, and 3.
Do you understand who's on Team Lock, Andrew? They've never
I'm
lost.
not good at puzzles. I would not help.
That's the point. That's what a handicap match is all about.
You could join the ball. Well, yeah, you could join the baller.
Why don't you three start then, and we'll have a revolving door third person on Team 2.
Yes, that'll work out.
Okay. All right. Corey, you're gonna start with Team Ballers then.
All right, so Corey is being taken off of the commentating team at this time
Back.
to go and help Team Ballers.
Come count us down, though, because I'm.
Mosley, you do
I'm
the
not about
countdown
this
now.
waiting
Let's start.
When are we starting the countdown?
Right now, but you got to go in and go 3, 2, 1, go, so they can hear it and I can hear it. Hit
So
start.
we're
on
gonna
the
count
timer.
down from like 15,
Just do 3, 2, 1, go.
16, 15, 14, 13, 12, 11, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4,
This is half open.
3,
Put that cigarette in.
This is half open.
1, go.
And we're off.
All right.
All right, let's get situated and get back into this.
So,
All right, so I think we're seeing from the little card there that it does have the white border piece with the Link's Awakening logo.
Mossy was asking about that. There's sort of a white border design that goes around the edge.
That is
help.
different from the cover of the box.
Right. Yeah. The picture on the little piece of paper is actually on the back of the box, so that will let them build the border a lot easier. But one thing that I noticed is that this puzzle, there's blue, there's green, there's yellow, there's brown. There's pretty distinctive colors in this.
And they're bright. There's not a lot
Yeah.
of shadow, dark spots where the colors blend together.
Yeah.
That was a problem in a previous year with we had a great piece of Ocarina of Time official art of Link fighting Ganondorf, but it's unfortunately it's great lighting, but it's got some shadow, so
Yeah.
some parts of it are kind of hard. But this is more comparable to the Wind Waker stained glass puzzle.
Right, exactly. It's more of a cartoonish feel to it, where there's not as many shades, as many colors blending together.
Yeah.
Like the big
They
puzzle
pop.
people have been working on all week was a nightmare for a while.
Yeah, lots
You
of the purple goes into the blue. Now we have an accusation from the chat from Stallnock saying that MASH has used pre-recorded content. Now, do you think that's a possibility, or have they been checked for legitimacy?
Everybody has been checked for legitimacy. I think that it's clear to me that Mosh, Team Mosh, I should say, their strategy is to separate all of the colors. And as I was saying, you got your blues, your greens, your browns. Obviously, they're separating all of the blues into one pile. They're probably going to do the same, follow suit with the rest of the major colors of this puzzle.
Yeah.
And that's what they're going for.
Blue is for sure.
Orion Project seems to be doing the same thing, whereas the Ballers, it looks like they're focusing more on the border and going to work
Not
their
a
way
bad
from
way
the
to
outside
start.
in.
Yeah. You're gonna want to do these things eventually. So, yeah. For those just joining us, Mosh is of course Mossy's and Josh. The Ballers, we got Justine, McKenna, and right now Corey. And the Orion Project are of course ZD WizKids, Andrew, and Locke. So we're you've kind of gotten flavors of them before, so you kind of know what to look out for.
Did you mention that Corey is revolving?
That's true,
Yeah, we're gonna get Lulu in there.
Yeah, so apparently the idea is to have... See, Corey is the third man right now helping out the ballers. Eventually he'll come out and one of us will go in and help out one of the teams. I don't know if it's going to be on the ballers every time. Is it going to be the ballers that we're helping, or is it going to be...
I think the ballers are...
I think the Orion Project's probably good, but
the main concern, I think, is that the Orion Project is kind of an OP team.
yeah.
And so we're kind of trying to even the scale a little bit.
But I suck, so maybe I can...
Maybe you should go on their team?
Yeah.
You know, that's kind of what I'm seeing here. You know, with Mosh, for example, they're only separating the blues, whereas the Orion Project, they're doing blues and greens, so they're thinking a little bit more broad than everyone else is.
Well, we can't see the other side of the table, so maybe Mosh is separating more colors.
That's true. They could, yeah. They got a pretty big
That's
table
kind of
back
sneaky
there.
of them. Yeah.
It's very sneaky of them.
I don't think we can see everything Orion Project's working with either.
I just saw Mossy's obviously take some pieces and put them out of camera view, so there's shenanigans going on the other side of the camera, folks.
So there is a lot of suspicion around the actions of Mosh this time around.
Lulu, this is your first time attending a Zelda Dungeon Marathon, so obviously this is your first time being present for what has become an annual puzzle. How are you feeling right now? What are you experiencing?
Pure joy.
That's what we like to hear.
So I'm seeing all the teams are starting to assemble the text logo. If you look at the bottom corner of the Orion Project, you see it. If you look towards Mossy's on Team Mosh, you see it.
Right.
And if you look up in the ballers in the bottom right of their screen, they are doing it. So maybe that was one of the early things to stick out for, because of course the letters are more distinct than some of the colors, obviously.
Right. Well, that was absolutely a question when Mossy's came in here and was showing me the box and everything. He said, you know, we don't know if it's going to have this logo on it, if it's going to have this border around it, so obviously we know the answer to that within the first 5 minutes of this puzzle going on. It is the exact picture on the back of the box.
Yeah. We had someone ask if this puzzle was shorter than previous puzzles, and I think it might actually be.
Yeah.
Do we know? I can't remember how many pieces it was, but
it's 550.
Okay, in previous years, what have we done? A lot more, right?
I don't know.
Okay.
I've seldom known the specifics of what was going on around here, but this year I have a little bit more of a handle on it. For comparison, the puzzle that we finished earlier today or yesterday?
Yesterday, I think.
The puzzle with the Blight Ganon on it and everything, that was 750. This is 550, and it's a little bit more distinctive in terms of color and
it's
things.
definitely going to be easier. So I think we will get through this quicker than, previous years.
It's much more comparable to the Wind Waker puzzles that we see hanging up back there, rather than this. I think this puzzle right here was the one that you were talking about with Link fighting Ganon.
Someone did point out the ballers here. They do have a larger table. They have that big wooden table.
Yeah.
Which I think might help with the sorting.
Yeah.
It's not impossible on the other tables, but.
True. Yeah, but they do have a little bit more real estate to work with, if you will.
The blue here is just taking up most of that half of the table,
Yeah.
It's quite a lot of blue, actually.
It's a lot of blue, but you gotta think, with the way the actual picture is, the blue goes across the entire top quadrant of the puzzle. So when you go down below that, you've got your greens and your browns and your yellows and everything, but the blue definitely dominates this puzzle for sure.
We got a great green stack with the ballers right here up in the top right.
Absolutely.
I really appreciate that green stack.
At the top right of the baller's screen, you can see that green stack coming to fruition. There's several other green pieces here that have not been thrown into that mix yet, but I'm sure they will be in time. A very nice avocado green and yellow, if you will.
Definitely, yeah. It looks like a little delicious guac dip right there.
Oh yeah, and me and Goo, we do love.
We
the guac.
appreciate guac.
We appreciate.
We gotta get
guac.
some guac actually.
We need to get some guac tomorrow.
Yeah.
We have to do it tomorrow.
Tomorrow guac. Now, one thing I noticed earlier was Corey's arms were coming in from the right side of the screen, and now they're coming in from the left side of the screen. So he is clearly taking a different angle, and I wonder how that's gonna play out for them in the long run.
Well, obviously Corey is out there, sweating it and getting it, so to speak.
That's what he does.
He's out there doing his damnedest to be a part of the team, even though he is an interim part of the team.
Yeah, that must be hard going into it and knowing, you're kind of the third wheel, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You can't be in that mindset though.
Right. And it's sort of up to us to make sure that everyone realizes that he was definitely a part of making this happen. He's all over the place.
He's just as important.
He is absolutely just as important, as will be one of us if we get tagged in. I don't know how that's going to work. Personally, ladies and gentlemen, I would rather sit my keister right here this entire time, but, we'll see what happens.
We'll see. One thing that tends to happen sometimes is you get sucked in to the puzzle.
You just can't help but...
Corey may never want to leave.
He may never want to leave, absolutely.
Do Mossy's earth tone clothes give his team an advantage as the vibrancy of the colors on the puzzle pieces will pop out more?
You know what? That's a very astute observation there, Gooey. I think that Mossy's is very bland, and so he's not causing any types of distractions with his choice of wardrobe.
Yeah. Now I see with Corey here, he's got this fancy smartwatch. That's very distracting.
Right.
I could be doing a puzzle with him and be like, wow, that's a nice watch you got there.
Absolutely. You might look at that watch and think, where did he get that watch? I would like to have that watch myself.
Yeah,
you would never want to wear Mossy's clothes, obviously. You just don't want to go down that path, so... We have a donation. Lulu, would you please read the donation we just received?
Nick says, let's go, ballers, let's go.
All right, we got Nick coming in with a $1 donation and giving his support towards the Ballers, which seem to be, I would say, struggling just a little bit compared to everybody else. But it's very early on in the game. They may have a better organization strategy, but just from what I see from the initial stages of this whole thing, the Orion project, they have their logo pretty much fully completed.
They got some border.
They got some border done. Mosh, they have their logo completed except for one very obvious hole right in the middle of the word Zelda.
It seems like anyone could figure that one out.
Absolutely.
I think I see the piece they need from here. But
yeah, I can see it from here. But, you got Mossy's. He's wanting to prepare for 15 minutes, and now he's got a giant hole in the middle of his logo. So, I mean, if that tells you anything, ladies and gentlemen, that should tell you everything. There, he found it just then. Okay.
There we go. Okay.
Good job, Moss.
Yeah, part of me wants to get a look at what their full board has going, because Josh is off camera working on something,
That's true. Yeah. Well, we talked about earlier how they have the other half of the table. This is the table that Mosh is working on is really like a two-tiered table. There's what we see on camera. If you can imagine a totally other side of that same thing, that's what they got above that screen. But I think it's kind of impossible for us to see that without some kind of camera adjustment, which, I'm not savvy on. I'm not going to go in there and mess with their camera.
No. I'm at least, what I'm going to do? I'm going to go see what's going on in that other table. All right. I can give you the first-hand view of what's going on.
Absolutely.
Little on-the-ground reporting.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, Gooey is going in here to do a little on-the-scene reporting. He's going to be right back to tell you everything that you're not seeing on screen right now, which is really very essential to this whole thing. Apparently, he's went the extra mile, and he's adjusted this camera to see the other side of the table. And obviously, you guys can see what I was talking about. There's a clear split right in the middle where you have two halves. And now we can see that Mosh has all of their greens and some of their browns over on that upper side of the table, all the blues on the lower side of the table.
All right, we got it taken care of.
All
and
right.
I got a look. obviously there's a little bit cut off, but you can kind of see what's going on with the other teams mostly fully. So we see a face coming together over on the Ballers.
Yeah.
I think just on the edge of the Orion project they have it going on too. Just off to the bottom, I think they got a face going. So I think the face might be one of the next easiest things to find because there's... Oh, I hear Livin' La Vida Loca playing, and that got Mossy's
Nice dance moves.
to cut a rug.
He's cutting a rug in there. He better be careful that he doesn't cut his own rug and is standing on some concrete.
He
'Cause
better
that could be
be-
very detrimental to this puzzle run. He could pass out or get very sore from standing on a concrete floor.
He better be careful he doesn't cut this stream due to a copyright claim.
It might happen, absolutely.
I hear
Gooey, was
many
there-
voices singing it back there too, so it's clearly a group distraction.
Is this really the greatest song that we can think of to play during this, though, or should we go the extra mile, Gooey, and think of a real soundtrack to maybe work into this?
Well, I will say when you're assembling a puzzle, you are in a sense living La Vida Loca.
That is very true.
So
That is
I think
very
it's
true.
somewhat
It is
appropriate.
a very chaotic existence to be a puzzle connoisseur.
For some people, it's constant chaos, and almost to the point of suffering. But
I mean-
that's what you do for your art, you know.
You know, when you think about a puzzle, Gooey and Lulu, a puzzle is really taking peace and exploding it into chaos, and then taking it upon yourself to restore peace. That's what
Yeah.
a puzzle's
I
all
agree.
about.
Yeah.
So it's a very stressful life, if I must say so myself.
Yes, early stages of a puzzle are very loco. Some
They're
might
very.
say.
We can see that the Ballers, Orion Project, and Mosh are all living La Vida Loca as we speak. But they each have their own respective handle on these tasks. It looks like the Orion Project, actually, they have a border and a shield. And we just got a donation. Lulu, if you can please read us the
Oh, no.
donation while I go and refuel my coffee.
Okay, $3 donation from Hypnos. We need a ranking of ZD members. Mozzie's at the bottom and work up from there.
Well, we're not gonna rank people, but we'll at least accept Mossy's at the bottom. I think most people will agree to that, but we don't want to get into the we don't want to make anyone feel out of place. Other
Less
than
than
Mossy's.
number one.
Yeah.
Everyone's number one.
Yeah, how about this? Number 2, Mossy's. Number 1, everyone else. Yeah, so the Livin' La Vida Loca is really taking over here, I
The
think.
Mount Rushmore of CD members.
The Mount Rushmore? Would that be different than the Four Horsemen? Probably. Well, Mossy's would have to be on it. Love him or hate him, he's on there. Gooey number 1, thank you. How many Jigsaw puzzle streams on Twitch do you think there are?
0. Well, 1. This is the only place to get your jigsaw puzzle fix.
And it's only once a year, so.
Only once a year, all across Twitch. This is the only place to find team-based, strategic jigsaw puzzle building with Livin' La Vida Loca in the background.
And they do work on their strategies.
Absolutely.
It looks like every team has a shield coming together. The Orion Project especially so.
That's right. And I was back there just a moment ago getting a beverage. You can see that Josh is over here working on something. He's shaking his keister. He's very into this song. But he's actually working on the shield. So they have the shield coming along
I
as
can
well.
kind of see it, but
Yeah,
not quite.
it's definitely there. If you were to go back there and see. The Ballers have a piece of the shield. They have a lot of the face going.
Yes.
Woo! Lulu?
Alright. $3.16 from Mozzie's of the Future. Number 1, Mozzie's. Number 2, Mozzie's. Number 3, Mozzie's. The end.
In reference to ranking ZD members, which is inappropriate, we will not be doing.
Yep, that is absolutely inappropriate. we cannot number 1 rank ZD members. That's just wrong. And number 2, that's completely inaccurate. So
we did accept that Mossie's would be on the bottom.
yeah, absolutely. So we appreciate your donation, but everybody's entitled to their wrong opinion.
Yeah, you can post your rankings in a form of donation. That's fine, as long as you're giving money.
Yes.
We got quite the face going on the Ballers. I don't. Oh, maybe they might have that on Orion Project too. I just see just off frame. They're connecting the face to the shield, it looks like.
Yeah,
definitely the shields.
Absolutely. So.
And there's this transitioning into a border. So I think they have quite a big advantage right now.
You know, it is still difficult to see really what the Ballers and the Orion Project are working on. I mean, you can't see their entire table. Certainly not as much as we can see Mosh now, but obviously they are working on the Shield and Link and that whole unit, as is the Ballers, as is Mosh, and so it seems to be still pretty even. I don't know how to call it right now. I don't, you know.
It's, yeah, I do think Orion Project is looking pretty strong, and of course we know they're ones to watch, so we'll keep our eyes on them, keep our eyes on everyone else. Right now, they are now currently listening to Drops of Jupiter by Train, so we'll see how that affects the gameplay.
Princess Nikki says in the chat, if we can check out the chat for a moment, that Africa would be a good song for this. Should we change it to Africa?
Yeah, I believe
Africa by Toto?
Yeah,
you might as well.
Okay. Princess Nikki, you got it.
We'll see how the teams react to Mosley coming in and abruptly changing the song. We'll see if there are any Train fans in there. All right, everyone's excited about it, so it turned out to be a good move. Yeah, please.
Nice job, Nikki.
You're not going to be able to hear them, but if you have any song ideas, drop them in the donations.
Yeah.
Were we losing that bad? We need to give Josh the extra juice?
No, this was just a suggestion.
All right, Mossy seems to think that Toto will give Josh a boost. Let's be sure. All right, all you eagle-eyed viewers out there, keep an eye on Josh. You might see him rocking out a little bit, a little wiggling.
He can't help but move. I think that if somebody laid $1 million under his nose and played Bohemian Rhapsody, Josh could not keep himself from singing a word of that song.
You know, in another life, I think Josh was born to be a singer and a dancer.
He was. He would be the perfect performer.
Yeah.
But he instead is a very mysterious being who seems to specialize in jigsaw puzzles instead.
He's pretty good at them.
But the guy can hear anything and recite it back to you word for word, note for note. I mean, his key and his pitch is perfect. Lulu, what is your take on what's going on over here? Who do you think is in the lead?
I'd say the Orion Project, just because they've got a border going on, along with a lot of Link. And then, you know, the Ballers are probably in second. And then I'd say Mosh is last, because they're starting on a little bit of border, but then Josh has a little bit of Link in the back there, but I'd say that the Orion Project is definitely in the lead.
Now, do we want to... Maybe I can try to get us a better shot of what Orion Project has going on.
Yeah, Gooey, I think you should go to the ground and see if you can adjust the camera just a tad. See if we can get a little bit broader view. But, Lulu, I think you're onto something. I think that the Orion Project, I think that clearly they have the most well put together puzzle at this point. However, Mosh... they've got several pieces put together but aren't all linked together, so I think that very soon we're going to see a lot of those come together into the border, and I don't know, the game may change very quickly.
It could very well turn around very fast.
Absolutely. Let's see what Gooey is able to do here for us.
Look at that.
Wow,
Look at
coming
that.
on screen in the Orion Project, they almost have the entirety of Link done. I mean, there's clearly a giant hole in his chest, but they have more of Link done than I think anybody right now. That is still considering that we cannot see exactly what Josh is working on right now. I think his progress is very much out of screen.
What's the
Looks like Orion Project is running away with it. The Orion Project. Yes. We might need some sabotage. All right, now we got a real good look at what they got going on.
Definitely.
My suspicions were
Absolutely.
extremely correct.
Yeah,
Did you see the Orion Project? Do they have the Legend of Zelda put
Yes,
together
I
already?
think every team has got that. It's just off camera. There's not much going on above. They're really focused on here, so this is the bulk of what they got going on.
Look
And
at that,
it
turning
is
it for
quite
us too.
yeah. So yeah, I would be starting to be worried if I was the other team.
Yeah, I mean, we thought that everything was pretty even until you went in there and laid down the law, and the Orion Project brought their link into view, and now it's just clearly the Orion Project is in first place.
Yeah. Now a thing. Now they're not in first place, but a thing I would look at with Mosh is they're working at complete opposite ends of the table and almost off camera on both ends.
Very little teamwork going on
Very
with
little
Mosh.
teamwork. I think maybe they're trying to have their own specialty, but at the same time, I don't know if that's gonna pay off.
Yeah, it's hard to say. I mean, because even if one of the team members is doing well, the other one may not be doing so well, and you don't have anybody to back you up. Obviously, with the Ballers and the Orion Project, they're all working as a team, and we can see that coming together.
Yeah, big time.
So,
Whoa, what's going on over here?
one thing.
Oh, we got a hat in the frame. I was like, what is occurring? And that's of course the baller hat itself.
Well, one thing that I notice now with the Orion Project is that Andrew's face is very much in the camera frame.
You can see
preventing
the
it-
intensity.
We can see the intensity. We can almost see the sweat beating up on his head. But I would almost rather see the puzzle pieces to know where we stand in this whole scheme of things.
Well, I think you're getting an idea on how Andrew builds puzzles, which he gets down into it.
He gets right up on top of the table. He might as well throw his leg over this table and just start hammering down on this puzzle. Because that's what I feel like is about to happen anyway.
Now, we have a respectable link coming from the Ballers here. But one thing I'm worried about is I don't know what their border game is looking like,
Their border game is non-existent, Gooey, in my opinion. I
think-
don't see a border at all.
That's what Orion
I think
has
all
on
of them are focusing too much on just getting linked together.
But we do see quite a lengthy border coming from Orion Project.
Yes.
And Mosh, Mossies is working on the border extensively.
But I see
On his
nothing
own.
else, really. Well, we know Josh is doing the shield, but we don't know how much.
It's hard to see. They're very secretive. It's not very, I guess, intuitive into what they're doing. But, I think, like I said earlier, Mossies is working on the border, and here in a moment, he's going to connect all of those pieces together. And
Yeah.
they're going to be a lot further ahead.
That's true.
Well, I think that's about the same that the Orion Project's doing, though, because Andrew, I believe, is doing the border on their team, and then Locke is doing this corner
Oh, he's
area,
getting the bottom corner?
And,
We see the weather vane of
Yeah.
the rooster and
Yep.
like one of the houses, so that's cool. Yeah, we've got something coming together.
somewhat the same strategy, but the Orion Project's just,
They're firing on all cylinders.
yes.
Absolutely.
As we expected.
The Orion Project's coming out like a V8, whereas the Ballers are a strong V6. I mean, they're chugging as hard as they can. And you seen just a moment ago, they sort of rearranged the placement of their box. In my opinion, it's not as camera friendly, but maybe it's helping them to.
Maybe they can focus a little bit more with it.
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah, there's some. We need to see maybe if we can get some of Josh's puzzle into the action.
Josh's work is very mysterious at this point. He's stayed off camera.
Uh-oh.
Even after you have went in there and adjusted the camera, he has even moved his
He
work
has moved further
away.
He is a mysterious individual.
He is.
And, hold on. Let's go to the chat and see what the chat is thinking about this and some of the people out there. Baller sorting game is subpar.
Yeah,
Okay,
let me put this to the chat real quick.
Okay.
What do you think about the various teams right now? The strategies. Who do you think, which person is bringing the most to their team right now? That's what I want to know.
Yeah, that is a fabulous question, Gooey. And while the chat is answering that question that Gooey just asked, I'm going to go in there and see if I can't pull up this Stallnock 78 request. We need some Stone Cold entrance music right now. Okay. I'm going to see if I can't make that happen. So I will be right.
That might be trickier, but we'll see if we can happen. Also, try to get Josh's puzzle on camera. We'll see if he heard what I was saying. Yes, Orion is running away with it. Not only they have this whole house section they're working on.
There we go.
Link is quite pronounced. Okay. But now we're missing some of what Mossie's is doing. Though, I will say the border is kind of boring.
Yeah. It's not too much to look at.
Let's see. Abe Lincoln says, I think the team that is connecting the most puzzle pieces to other has an advantage. Now, that's a good point.
Good observation.
Very straightforward, but true. Yeah, Mosh is not very far. And I think that has a lot to do with their divide and conquer strategy. I think they think that it's more efficient to be working on the separate things, but I don't think that's playing out for them. Locke and Andrew let each other blind through the Minish Cap. Every other team will be hard-pressed to find that type of trust. That really is something special to do. I don't know if you ever played a game like that, but it will bring you together with your partner. It does form a strong bond that is nearly unbreakable. Locke has been placed on the same team as the Crooked Commish, and I don't know if he's good enough to carry him. No, Locke is not on the team with the Crooked Commish. That is Josh, who is on his team. And I don't know if that's enough to carry them. Apparently, Andrew is being called out for being a cheater. I don't think we have any evidence to support that.
Definitely not.
Yeah, that may be a baseless claim. That may be... I mean, legal action could be brought against you for saying that, I'm sorry to say. Let's see. If the teams move their hands and fingers around the table in the right order, with the right timing and synchronization, they will be able to complete the puzzle. Again, another solid observation from the viewers there. So, we do have some people who... We got the... Okay, we have kind of...
Google is sick right now, so she's not cooperating as she should.
It's kind of playing a generic version of the Stone Cold
That was
Steve
about
Austin
a 45-second delay on my request.
But it worked. One thing I'm noticing from our viewers is that we've got some, I think, puzzle connoisseurs here, and I think it's from the years of witnessing the ZD Marathon puzzle.
Okay, so we have some veterans then.
Yeah,
some
people,
puzzle veterans.
They know their history.
Cool.
It's those internet fans, you know,
right?
The smarks, if you will.
Smarks.
They know what's going on. They know the behind the scenes with the Crooked Commish.
Yeah.
His history with various people like Heel Spiteri and...
You can never deny a smark, though. I don't like the term smark. I think it's a little bit offensive, to be honest with you, Gooey, because, you know, these folks have dedicated many years into watching this, and I think that's disrespectful to this puzzle business.
Okay. I apologize for the term. Maybe the smart fans out there.
Okay, that's
I mean in a positive light.
We've received the donation, Lulu, if you will.
$1 to go and annoy Team Mosh for 1 minute.
I mean,
and
you
the
kind of were
thing
doing
is
that, but...
they are getting that border together.
So maybe the border is... Moss took a look at the camera. I think he's a little camera shy right now.
Well, see, that was absolutely my assumption earlier, was that he was going to piece together all of these border pieces. And I went in there a moment ago, off screen. Josh is putting in some serious work on Link. Nowhere near the scale that the Orion project has completed thus
Do you
far.
think it's enough to come back, though?
You know, with the border already assembled, there's partial border in the Orion project. There's zero border in the Ballers that I can see so far.
It does look like the Ballers are kind of struggling to, like, get the next thing. You know?
It's very interesting, too, Gooey, because the Ballers have a 3-man band going, whereas the other two teams, they only have 2 people working in tandem. And to me, I mean, maybe, like I said, camera angles tell one story. Being here tells another, but it looks like the Ballers might be in last place.
Part of me is thinking we may have too many cooks in the kitchen.
You know, that may be true.
Sometimes too many gets in the way.
I think the Orion project, they kind of have the right balance, like a good tag team going, and I think they share a common goal.
Right, and that's a very good point, because, I mean, Gooey, your theory cannot be discounted. If we compare that with Mosh, that's a 2-man group. They apparently have come a long way, and so, you know.
Yeah, they are really starting to show up to this. Though one thing I still pointed out is Josh is putting together this link. That's gonna be hard to get in the border if they assemble the border.
Absolutely. If you notice in the bottom left of your screens, ladies and gentlemen, Mosh right now bringing the logo into the mix. Mossy's is trying to assemble this logo into the puzzle, and I think this could be a big game changer.
That's extremely crucial.
Just seeing that is intimidating to the other teams, much in the way that the Orion project, they have Link plus a huge amount of the bottom border connecting already assembled. This is a big deal for the other teams. Those who may glance over and see the progress of the other teams may be very intimidated by what's going on across the room.
You know, everyone knows what a puzzle border looks like, but when you start to see the border with the picture, there's no going back from that. Yeah.
Well, see, not only does the Orion project have a part of the border, they have Link pretty much completely done. They have the house. They have
it ready to go in there.
They have it ready to go. They have it where it's supposed to be. They just have to kind of piece together the rest of the landscape around it. So,
and once they do, like, it's gonna be like dominoes falling. You're gonna see pieces fall into place.
Absolutely, and we had some Domino's pizza earlier today, and it was fabulous. Shout out to Domino's for making
here.
Domino's in Is it West Dundee or East Dundee?
West Dundee.
Domino's in West Dundee was fantastic. Thank you, Domino's, for supporting the Zelda Dungeon Marathon.
No, we don't need to go that far. Yeah, Masa's. I am concerned about them getting Link into the border once Moss assembles it. Because one, it's filled with the puzzle piece, all the blues.
Yeah.
They're gonna have to spend time just to clear space. You know what I mean?
You know what? Well, we got that donation to, annoy Team Mosh for about a minute, so.
All right, Lulu's gonna take that off.
Oh, here she goes.
Mission.
All right, we'll have to hear about your
Josh
strategy.
doesn't, hate me too much.
No.
Lulu is going here to do something. I don't even know what she's doing right now. It's going to be very
Mosh.
interesting. Hopefully she doesn't tear up progress, because that would be a horrible way. Oh, she's going into help, I think.
I wish we had a mic on the scene, you know?
Absolutely. We need a mic and a camera on the scene, but we really don't have anybody else to...
We got no extra cameras.
Do we have a way of doing this, Gooey?
No, this is a little too complicated. But we'll get some idea of what Lulu's strategy was when she comes back.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to go step out and take a quick piss. I will be back.
All right, so it's just
a
me.
Moment. So it's just Gooey. Take it away.
All right. So the first thing I'm noticing now, after having been focusing on other things, is we do have quite a large link coming together with the Ballers, with some border, and it's looking pretty good. And I'm also thinking one thing that needs to be taken into this perspective right now is perspective. The Ballers, they have a much larger space that they are utilizing. Therefore, our camera is zoomed out more. So they actually do have quite a large link with the Orion project, but it seems a little bit smaller. So it might seem like, looking at theirs, they have quite a bit more assembled, but we can't totally discount the Ballers themselves. And I do see up in the top right of the Baller screen a bit more coming together with, I believe that's in the town, in May Village,
Well,
or wherever.
at least I didn't say that.
Now, did you successfully annoy Team Mosh?
I'd say a little bit, yeah.
Did they seem distracted?
A little.
Okay.
Moss definitely wasted a little time to go run and check out the Orion project's progress.
Okay. They're looking pretty good, but
Yeah.
there's something I already told everyone, but where's Mosley going? Well, I'll just tell you. One thing I noticed is the Orion project. I think our camera's a bit more zoomed in on them.
Mm-hmm.
So this looks huge, you know what I mean? That Link
Yeah.
is, but like the Ballers actually have almost a similar thing going on with Link there.
Right.
I actually think they're not doing too bad. And they have some stuff up in the top right here, like little...
But you gotta keep in mind, so Mosh, they have almost the entire border put together. Josh has almost all of Link done, and they also have the Zelda logo.
Yeah,
So
that is very
I feel
true.
like right now Mosh is about in second place.
It could be, yeah. I think these teams aren't as far off as we thought. I do think Orion Project is still
Way
holding a
ahead.
lead,
Yeah.
but we do have some good puzzles coming from everyone else.
And Josh is definitely in his happy place right now.
He's vibing.
Yes. And
So-
I while I went to annoy them, there was a puzzle piece on the floor, and I could have left it there, but I decided to be nice. And
Wow,
pick it
okay.
up for them.
So some good sportsmanship occurring.
Yeah.
Even from a non-competitor. Now Mosley has returned. As he-
Not quite.
I mean,
One moment, please.
we got a visual on you.
I will be back very soon.
He appears to just be standing there looking off camera at something. We don't know what.
You know, I like a little creamer in my coffee, and I'm just trying to mix, you get the perfect amount.
Oh, very true. Very true. So yeah, we got a nice clean border from Orion Project. I feel like their sorting abilities are off the charts. They almost sort this thing like mechanical precision, you know?
Yeah.
You know what I see right now in my return to the camera view is, I think Mosh has come a long way.
Yeah. We were just
Whatever-
talking about that.
Yeah, whatever confusing strategy that they have is really coming together. The Ballers are just now kind of starting to assemble their border.
They do have that big link hooked to the border, though.
They do, but I mean, compare that with the Orion project. They have the same, but they have more of a border going on.
You are right.
I think that it's still too early to call. It is definitely still too early to call, but man, the Orion project is seems to be running away with it.
Mm-hmm. I would agree. I think they're clearly in first, and then Mosh might be in second right now.
Yeah, I think if we were to call it right now, Gooey, I think you're spot on.
I think the judges would go towards the Orion
I
project.
think the Orion project #1, Mosh #2, and the Ballers definitely in third place.
But
now,
it is close.
whenever-
I mean, the Ballers, they're getting some stuff over in the right side.
absolutely.
Together.
They have some little vignette.
here.
Oh, look at that one.
Oh, that is a very good point, Lulu. Right when you said that, they assembled a huge chunk of green over here, which happens to be part of the house.
And it's the same. It's actually almost the same as what the Orion Project has assembled.
Absolutely. So the Orion Project may be only a little bit ahead of where the Ballers actually are. Maybe Orion's 1, Ballers 2, and Mosh's 3.
I think where the Ballers have been having difficulty is they haven't established too much of a border. But
Absolutely.
the border pieces are a little bit easier to pick out. It's kind of usually what you do first because of how distinct those are. So maybe if they're saving some for later game, maybe they won't have too hard of a time, you know?
Absolutely. But then, Gooey, just maybe a couple hours ago, we were involved in the greatest Majora's Mask 3D run in Zelda Dungeon history, in which we had to get the masks in a certain specified order. That order was heavily based on the fact that the easier masks came later because we can get them pretty much any time. Relating this to the puzzle, the Ballers may be saying, you know what, this border is so easy, we can just lay it in whenever we want. Let's focus on the really hard parts of this deal and then lay in the easy stuff later.
You're right. Yeah. They have made a connection of the house and the green to Link, which has not occurred with the Orion Project. So maybe there is something to that. Maybe we're about to be a little bit surprised by them.
Yeah, absolutely. With these puzzles, I mean, it can be too early to call at any given moment. I mean, anybody can look like they're ahead, and then within a split second.
Ooh, look at this. Oh, we almost had a connection here for the Windfish Egg.
Yep.
In the Baller team that they're working on.
They're
very close to connecting this large chunk to another large chunk.
They are definitely onto something. They know where they're going with this. They know where they want to go.
Oh, but something I just noticed is the Orion Project has that assembled just at the edge of the frame. So just when you think something's happening, the Orion Project has already, gotten on top of it.
The Orion Project has proved to be the proverbial thorn in the side of every other team in this endeavor right now, Gooey. I think that
you just can't get a leg up on them.
You can't get a leg up on them. Right when another team is making some progress, you shift your view to the right side of your screen, and the Orion Project already has an entire rooster tower built. Lily, what do you make of all this? I mean, what's going on in your mind right now as you watch what's going on? Do you think that the Orion Project is clearly in first, or do you think the Ballers maybe they have some kind of strategy that we just haven't considered at this point?
I think it's constantly changing, to be honest. I think the Orion Project's still in first, but it's hard to tell. I mean, yes, Mosh has the border and the Link, but the Ballers have Link, and they're getting, that house and the weather vane area put together and connected, and they're starting to get the egg all together, and it's hard to tell really who's in second.
Yeah.
It's definitely a toss up.
I think you're absolutely right.
Totally
right.
It's
very easy to say that the Orion Project is the world heavyweight champion, but the Intercontinental champion, it's who do you give that to?
I think if one person on the Ballers just sat and tried to get the border together, and then the other two worked on, getting some other pieces, then they could very easily pull ahead.
You're absolutely right, and I agree. I think that in the beginning, our assumption was that everyone should be working as a team to work on everything as a unit, and we were kind of shunning Mosh a little bit for working on things separately. But obviously this is proving to be a very valuable tactic, because Mossy's has continued to work on the blue part of the puzzle while Josh is working on the rest, the greens, the browns, the yellows, and it's coming together a lot better.
I'm thinking what they're doing now, we see a lot of them working around the border, and it's because there's this triangle pattern with the border. So, you can kind of see it if you look at the Orion Project at the bottom here. There's still like little white triangles or whatever poking up from the border. Yeah. So even though you got the edges, now you have these very distinct white and blue pieces that theoretically should fit alongside the border. See, we have Locke here trying to place one. There we go.
Well, yeah, absolutely.
Beautiful play there.
And I think
Another
that
one.
one of the things about the ballers is that they're very subtle. If you turn your attention to the screen of the ballers, you have McKenna here is absolutely very subtle in her approach to what's going on. I think that it's not so obvious that they have everything organized. They have their blues, their greens. They have them kind of, from what it seems at first glance, scattered.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But really, it's coming together a lot better now if you look at it. They have everything sort of where they want it to be.
One thing I've noticed is I haven't seen Corey's hands in a minute, and part of me is wondering what's going on just off camera. Oh, there's his hand. What's he working on over there?
Oh my goodness! You can't help but turn your attention to the Orion project. They have the entire
wow.
mountain
man.
Completed with almost the entirety of the egg.
That we did not see coming.
No.
This is
quick.
This this is starting to be a very, very tough endeavor for the rest of the teams. But one thing that I think Mosh has over them is Mosh has their blues heavily completed. It doesn't look like the Orion project really has their blues completed as well as Mosh does. So it's still a toss-up. I don't think that it's a runaway just yet, but it's very impressive to see a huge piece of this puzzle come into camera view and connect to the rest of everything else.
It's definitely got to psych some of the other teams out too,
If they could see what we would see, they would probably walk out the door right now and go home. They would quit and they would never look back.
Yeah, let me do a quick update. Let me do a quick camera update and see, because that mountain took us by surprise. So let's
It
try.
took us very much by surprise. While you do that, Gooey, I'm actually going to be right back.
Oh, I'll let you go.
No, absolutely. We'll be right back in just a moment. I'm going to step upstairs.
Okay, I'll let you go. We don't
Maybe
need
a couple of minutes. We just need a quick break.
Okay.
If anybody wants to join there, well.
I'm not gonna leave it as a one-person booth.
I won't either.
Too much responsibility to carry. Yeah, that's one thing I'm concerned about though, is like what's going on, like what do they got going on just outside of frame? It's kind of freaking me out. Corey is doing something. Part of me hopes it's that border we were talking about.
I think I'm gonna go check because
Yeah.
I need a sip of my coffee quick and
Maybe we can get
gonna check in on 'em.
if we can zoom out, camera adjustment, or even just remind the competitors to get into the frame a little bit better,
yeah.
Especially Mosh. What's going on here?
Well, I'll
All right, so we will maybe get an update on what's going on here. Favorite Link's Awakening character. Well, right now we're assembling we got Link right here on the cover. I don't know if he's a favorite Link's Awakening character, but he's certainly the subject of this puzzle that we're assembling. Yeah, I mean, everyone's got a solid puzzle coming together. There's certainly no one who you could criticize too much, but clearly we have some strategies working out much better than others. I really like the shot we have here of Orion Project's puzzle. It's nice and full, and there's just a lot of different dynamic areas in the puzzle itself that I really appreciate. Oh, Gooey Best Host, thank you. I'm trying my best. Now Josh, he's starting to put that house together. It does feel like a little bit early, but I don't know. We'll see. Masa's working his way from the outside with the border here, and that might pay off. We might see that might pay off, because once he gets to a certain point, they are going to hopefully meet in the middle with what they're working on.
Well, when when it comes to the ballers with their puzzle pieces, Justine is working pretty hard on getting that border together. She's got some pieces off to the side that she's getting, and she's gonna start putting them in. She's got quite a bit.
Of what? Which type? Border?
Yeah, the border.
Oh, here we see it coming together. Okay.
Yeah. That's what she was working on when I went back there.
But we see the browns here. That's their mountain that they have yet to put together,
Yes. Yeah.
right? That's at that point, like it's
And
just
that
such a,
looks like what Corey is trying to work on at the moment.
what I'm sort of suspecting at least is that that's not going to take too long because there's not too many brown pieces to actually put together here, you know. And Mosley has returned.
Oh, that's a great song.
Team Mosh did not have time for my commentating, so
No,
I just let them continue on.
Mossy seems pretty fired up.
So, Google has just played a little Iron Maiden for the teams in the back, and I feel like this will be a very heavy factor in the progress that we see over the next 2 to 3
Do you
minutes.
Look at that border coming together with Team Mosh, though.
Yeah, Mossy's is definitely going hard on this border. But I'm not sure if it's going to be enough. We'll see. Part of me thinks if he gets done with the border, he'll have more time to help Josh put the other non-blue pieces together, you know?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, good strategy.
But it just depends. I feel like the Orion Project, they just have an eye for puzzles, you know what I mean?
Absolutely.
I've seen Locke many times just pick up a piece, look at the picture, he can visualize it perfectly. So well, they have kind of like, they don't have a specific strategy. It's really just seems to rely on their eagle eye that they have.
Well, Locke right now is definitely fitting each piece to see what goes where. And he is doing that very fast, very quick.
Yeah.
Absolutely. You can see with Locke, he doesn't even give it the victory tap, which we normally see from a lot of puzzle goers. They get that piece in there and then they give it a little extra tap.
It's just like,
That's called the victory tap, and Locke is foregoing this victory tap in.
because it's nothing but showboating.
It's nothing but showboating, but you know, if you've ever been a part of a puzzle, it feels very good to give it a little victory tap right on the top.
Especially if you're working with others, so you can
Yeah.
go, I did that.
Exactly. That's why you give it a little, maybe even a double tap to let them know, hey, I got this piece.
But here we're seeing there are no egos involved on Team Orion Project.
Absolutely not, and that could be a huge factor too. It looks like we got a donation.
Nick says, do you have any Zelda-inspired cocktails / coffee drinks?
Okay.
I don't.
Some blue potion.
You know,
Oh, actually, hot brown morning potion.
Brown. Oh, we have a return of a Super MC Gamer asking how we're feeling post Majora. We're feeling great. We're
feeling absolutely awesome, and you know, as far as myself is concerned, I think that was probably my favorite time running Majora's Mask at the marathon thus far. I know I've had some really good showings in the past. This one, you know, it wasn't picture perfect, but I think that the credentials that we had to meet, getting all the masks, it was really fun. Playing with Gooey was awesome. I would probably not have been able to pick a better opponent, and it was fantastic.
we had
it was
quite
really
the time
fantastic.
out there. And we had mostly we haven't gotten a good meal afterwards, but
Well, I had one piece of pizza that I found.
it's some mac and cheese.
There's a little mac and cheese up there somewhere along the lines, but you know, I have my Chateau Romani here in my golden cup.
And our
So
post dinner convo, look where we are now. Like everyone has a very pronounced thing going on with their puzzle. I think Orion Project is still looking very strong.
You know, I just noticed one huge problem with Mosh, in that how are they going to transfer?
That's what has been said from the beginning of this race.
Okay, absolutely. I think that they are going to fall apart. I'm going to call it now that moving that huge chunk of green to the overall puzzle is going to be a huge problem for them. If it's not, I think that they take the lead immediately.
I mean, that could possibly be why that bottom corner is not completed yet. Maybe they plan on sliding it in there.
I don't think so. I don't think they're going to go that far.
Well, Link is actually, I mean, if you look, he's at the bottom, so he's part of the corner in itself.
We even have a claim from MC here. Team Mosh's approach is crazy.
It is crazy. I totally agree.
That is a great observation. It is absolutely insane.
You know, I think with the Orion project, they are still really laying on the heavy heat with this puzzle right now. I mean, they have a huge portion of it done already. They have a border up there, up at the top left of their quadrant.
Just waiting.
It's just waiting to be connected. It's not quite connected. That could very well be the top of the puzzle.
I think they're ready for it. I think they're just holding. I think the potential suggested strategy of Mosh, which is they're holding off to slide the other things in, but I'm not sure if that's what is going on here.
Well, you know, I'm smelling what you're stepping in, Gooey, and I think that, you know, with Mosh, it's going to be harder to move the section that they are completing separately onto each other than it will be the Orion project, because the Orion project, all they have to do is simply slide that over a little bit.
It's just the border.
Exactly.
They have got what looks like the entire border, I think, complete.
Yeah.
And now they are focusing on working in the in-betweens, and then they can just get that border on once they've cleared enough space, you know?
Yeah, but not, I mean, let's not discount the ballers just yet. I mean, they are still churning away.
They've got the mountain coming together that we haven't seen that from Mosh yet.
You're right. Albeit a different approach, but they are still...
it's definitely a more scrappy approach, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, it is a more scrappy, a little bit more random approach where it's not so obvious. But then again, if we look at the top left of the screen over here, we have one individual of the ballers, maybe Justine, working on the border. So maybe they're going to lay that in a little bit later.
So they did start to work on that strategy.
Yep.
I think they're getting us some strategy on the fly,
Absolutely.
as we say.
Yep.
I think we're starting to see the Orion project. We have a very technical mastery of puzzle solving. With MASH, we have a very powerful, separate but together team. And then the Ballers, they're kind of a new team, but they're scraping by. They're putting up quite a fight, I would say.
Yeah,
and yes, MC Orion Project does have the logo put together.
Yeah, they are so professional. They have it off to the side because it's not a factor right now. It's not what they're worried about, but it is completed.
I think that the strategies of each team is becoming increasingly clear, whereas the Ballers, up until this point, they've all sort of been working in tandem to just piece together whatever they can collectively find. Of course, now we know that it's different a little bit because we have Justine over here working on the border herself. But the Orion project, we see a giant head. But when that head moves out of the way, you're going to see that they are assembling individual chunks and then placing them in.
Look at that, though, in Mosh.
In Mosh, they are working totally separately. Like, one individual, Josh, is working on one half of it, and Mossy's is working on the other half.
Josh is getting quite a bit of that bottom part starting to come together.
Absolutely.
I think they're starting to think about how they're getting this in, because Josh just took one part off so they can slide it.
Oh, here it goes.
Here goes the
Sliding
big
it
move.
very carefully. Oh, he lost a piece.
Oh, he lost some pieces, but he does know that they return to a specific location. So
Right. He
not a big loss of time.
Not a big loss. He only lost one piece. We thought that was going to be a lot more detrimental than it was, and apparently the game has now changed. I mean, I think that the Orion project is still clearly in first place, but Mosh is coming up
they're
a very
tightening
close
the
second.
gap. Yeah, definitely. I mean, Ballers is still holding up their end. I think they got a solid third right now. Definitely respectable showing. But we do see a lot. We're seeing a lot more deliberation going on with them, you know? We saw some picking up of pieces and putting them down. No, see, now, I think there's some wasted energy going into theirs, you know?
Josh is moving to move another piece over
big
to the
move
board.
right there.
This is big. We may need to start moving the camera down a little bit to see what they have on the bottom half of this puzzle, because
We'll get an adjustment for the viewers.
thank you, Gooey. Gooey is going to the ground team. He's going in there to adjust the camera a little bit. We can get a better comparison between Mosh and the Orion Project. Personally, Lulu, I feel like the Orion Project is still running away with it.
Oh, yeah. Definitely. They're just sprinting.
They're absolutely sprinting. They're yogging, for lack of a better term, towards the finish line. And the Ballers, you know, I'm still not counting them out. I called them from the beginning. I said they were going to win. I could be very wrong. But I'm not going to count them out just yet. Josh is assembling massive pieces of this puzzle right now into the overall work. You have almost the entire middle section of this puzzle now completed because Josh has brought his work over to it. And I assume very shortly we will see him return to his own sort of work in the top corner of this
Oh, yeah. I'm sure he'll
video.
start on the, probably the volcano next.
Okay, so now we definitely have a more clear image of what's going on. Even though Mosh has made a lot of progress here,
Corey needs to be relieved.
Okay, so
we have our first tag happening.
Lulu is gonna lend her efforts, and this could be
Let's
a
go, Lulu.
huge differentiator
Probably
between what
for the
happens.
worst.
So I got Moss to fix the camera here, but we were theorizing about the border and the logo of the Orion Project. They have the whole top half with the border just off screen, and it is a big, thick section.
Okay. Upstairs in the closet.
We may have Corey joining us soon. Maybe we can get inside the psyche of what was going on with the Ballers.
Corey is about to be joining us very shortly. He's going to get himself a cup to put in his chateau, and then he will be down momentarily. But I don't think the narrative has changed that much from what you're telling me here, Gooey. The Orion Project is running away with it, and here in a moment they're going to lay down the band hammer even further by connecting this top piece that is just off screen.
Oh, yeah. And we do have an accusation from the chat saying that the Orion Project did do a victory tap. So maybe they will start to wear down, or maybe they think they're getting a little far ahead. So.
Absolutely. Well, yeah, you can definitely tell when the victory taps come a lot more frequently. That's when you know one team is feeling very good about their progress. So we need to keep an eagle eye on the victory taps that occur over the next several moments.
One thing I noticed when I went in there was Mosh was having a bit of a issue. I heard them say they seem to be concerned that like the ends of something weren't lining up right. Like they might have had too many pieces on their border or something. And I actually heard them say something went wrong here.
Okay.
And they said they weren't sure what it is. So they're pressing forward, and they might have to adjust on the fly later for one of their pieces not fitting right.
Okay, so trouble in paradise for Mosh. They thought they had it all figured out, but they've apparently ran into unforeseen circumstances, according to Goo.
All right, so now we have joining us former team member of the Ballers, Corey Richmond. Welcome to the booth.
Thank you. I'm glad to be here.
Now, the story of the match so far has been the dominating lead of the Orion Project.
Seems like
the power of the Mosh team, and the underdog scrappy nature of the Ballers, who everyone is rooting for. though things are starting
It's hectic back there. I'm
So
not gonna lie.
can you give us a little bit of insight into what your team's strategy was?
You know, we were going to start with the border because that's usually that's the place where you want to start.
Yes, that was the distinct thing that was not
Yes.
happening on the baller team.
Exactly.
We noticed.
We started to get all the border pieces to one side, and we just realized, you know what, these all look very similar. We weren't having any luck piecing them together.
Okay.
So we decided, all right, let's start with some recognizable, aspects of the
An
puzzle. So we
understandable
started
play.
with Link, and then we worked on the house a little bit, and then I ended up doing most of the mountain. And we have got some of the border, we got some of the bottom going, and then that corner. But it's hectic back there. I'm not gonna lie. I was saying back there, this is probably one of the most intense puzzles I've ever done in my life.
Absolutely. It's one of the most intense puzzles that I've ever had the pleasure to sit here and call. Corey, one question that I have for you. You were a part of the Ballers for a good hour, probably, in helping
Wasn't that
them.
long?
Yeah, absolutely. We're at an hour and 8 minutes.
Wow.
You just came in here a moment ago. My question for you, now that you have a bird's eye view of all of the progress that's gone on, you see Mosh, it's a two-man team. You see all of the progress that they've come up with. The Orion Project, absolutely running away with it. That's a two-man team. The Ballers are a three-man team. What's going on here? Because it seems like they are the furthest behind.
Sometimes it kind of feels like we had to shuffle around a bit.
Right.
Some people maybe we were kind of trying to assign different sections to work on. And it's like, you do this, you do this, you do this. And if one person's just not having any luck, then the whole thing just kind of gets a little messy, because then that person might be like, all right, let's shuffle positions. Let's try something else,
Okay.
See,
Absolutely.
and I could see how. Well, let me ask you this.
Additionally, one more thing is that just having another body on the table, not that great. Because sometimes you feel like, you don't have a lot of room to move around, and
See, maybe we did theorize maybe too many cooks in the
Yeah,
kitchen.
a
absolutely.
little bit.
That's what
A
we
little
were
bit.
thinking. That may have been one of the problems.
I was gonna ask, is there anything, if you restarted now, anything you would do differently?
Well, I feel like I personally did a pretty good job. I felt confident that I did some good work on Link. I piggybacked off of what McKenna was doing with the house and kind of put that together. Connected it back to Link, and then I basically pieced together a lot of the mountain. Our team in general, I feel like we definitely should have kind of just hunkered down and focused more on the border.
Yeah.
Because that seems to be really where we're falling apart.
I was gonna say, well, the Orion Project, they have a whole different thing going. Like, it's almost hard to get inside their heads, because
They're geniuses.
they're just connected on a spiritual level that we don't understand. But Mesh here, they definitely had that strategy of Josh started working on the giant Link picture, and Moss
Started
went
on the
straight border. And we at first were saying they've got no teamwork going on, no cohesion. But clearly it is, while they don't have the X factor of the Orion Project, it is working out quite well for them. Is there anything you would like to say to your teammates if they could hear you now?
If my teammates could hear me now, I just I don't really have any criticisms, because I feel like we're all really doing our best out there, and
That's good to hear.
we kind of just have to work together and make sure that, I think we just got to organize a little bit more,
Yeah.
because we have a pretty big pile that's been there right in the middle that you can see. We haven't touched that since we poured it out of the box.
Yeah, and we saw, as Moss was doing with the border, he was clearing up those blues. Now, do you think maybe next year, you guys have, you've never met each other before, right?
It's true. It's true.
Most relative newcomers. We did have Justine a little bit last year.
That's true. McKenna and I are both not only new to the puzzle, but totally new to the marathon this year.
But how did you feel about your team's chemistry? Do you think next year, if you got the chance, that you guys could be a formidable force? Would you give this a go again?
Yeah.
All right.
I think we could definitely pull it together.
All right, that's good to hear.
it's just it's nerve wracking. It's nerve wracking for sure.
Yeah.
Especially because we can't entirely hear what you're saying, but we pick up bits and pieces here and there. And then of course we have the screen that we can watch ourselves, but it's really daunting to kind of be working your butt off and then thinking, how's everyone else doing?
It's the marathon jitters a little bit.
Absolutely.
And now you have with Orion Project, they're almost defining thing about their team is the lack of ego. There's no ego on this team.
Absolutely.
Now it's all ego over on Team Mosh.
All ego.
But they don't have the marathon jitters. They've been doing this for a decade going on.
They have a lot of puzzle experience as well. Definitely Mossy's does.
So I think this is a good first showing for Ballers.
I was thinking that, Team Mosh,
Good job.
Yeah.
prior to the puzzle starting, they were very adamant about having more time to prepare and think about their strategy. And I think that their strategy has really worked for them. Whereas the Ballers, they were just kind of ready to go. They were like, let's go, let's do this. And maybe they didn't have a very good sound strategy in place.
Yeah.
That's sort of coming to fruition now. We can kind of see that. But the Orion Project, they are absolutely running away with it right now.
These men are
And the
literal
thing is-
machines.
The thing is, when you really think about it, these teams and the way that they've been assembled, from hours before, days before this, the Orion Project, they wanted to be on each other's team. They knew that if they were paired together, they were going to run train on this puzzle.
Yeah.
So they knew, they were like, okay, if we get together, we're going to know exactly what we got to do. And then, of course, you have Mossies and Josh. They've known each other for a very long time.
They have a
I'm
deep
sure-
spiritual bond.
I'm sure they've, exactly. And I'm sure they've worked on multiple puzzles together in the past. And then you have myself, McKenna, and Justine. Not only have we just met each other, but I originally thought I
here
was
it
going
is.
to be doing... Oh, boy.
Orion
We've been
Project
waiting
is
for that
connecting
moment.
the top
Oh, wow.
part that we were talking about earlier was just off screen. They are absolutely
They are basically done.
pummeling this puzzle.
Here's the thing you'll notice about Locke, though, is he has this amazing ability of picking up a piece, scanning the board with it, and just putting it into place,
Locke is almost like a cyborg, really. I don't think he's human.
It's true.
I still am not convinced, and this is pulling me further away from convinced that he is human.
Again, though, a good first showing for the Ballers. I think in the future we have a
Where's the white towel?
great
Anybody got a white towel I can throw?
start to a promising young team.
Don't throw in the towel just yet.
Bob Backlund here.
No, it's done. Team
Moss
Mosh
is just
has
throwing in
thrown
the
in
off
the towel.
green towel.
That
Off-green towel.
that final top piece being put on was like a tombstone pile driver to the other
That
teams.
was absolutely correct, Gooey. I couldn't have worded it any
true,
better.
it's
That
true.
was a tombstone city, right to the rest of the teams. The Ballers
Now
way
it's just-
behind.
So
Um,
so what did they do right?
They just have.
What was the order of operations?
They're just
Nothing.
machines.
We
they're
can't-
just
that's
machines.
what
They
it
are
is.
machines. We cannot describe their strategy.
We could
Like,
not define what
it's not as
strategy they
easily
had
broken
going into
down.
it.
They just have to have some sort of spatial awareness where they can tell they have a puzzle piece and they're like, this goes here.
Yeah,
Has to.
like we can easily describe the strategy of Mosh, which was you do the border, I'll do the picture. They had that going. They had the picture and the border, but it felt like they were in tandem doing both.
Yeah.
It was just like watching an AI assemble a puzzle.
And then 2 minutes ago, they brought down about a quarter of the top of the puzzle and connected it to the top. And it was just, it's game over right there.
Like I think in the future, like you can't have this team. They're unbeatable.
Well,
They have
it's
to be
Andrew.
separated.
It's Andrew, because we did pull Locke off last year, and it had no effect. Andrew is he's a king. He's a
Oh.
kingmaker here.
He is absolutely the silent king.
See, this whole time we've been talking of Locke, but
Oh God, no, it's all Andrew.
wow.
You should have saw Windblight Gannon, Andrew on Windblight Gannon. Locke is a tier 2 player though.
You think so?
Yeah, no, and Locke is top of his game, but he's not in Andrew's level. There's a degree of distance. But I mean,
Andrew's on the Inhuman.
I can see it
you were
now that you're
speaking of.
mentioning it. Andrew is absolutely.
Yeah, he's really
putting
just-
those pieces there. He knows they go there. He's giving them the victory tap.
let's just
and
quick
finally they're
rotate.
going in right there. That was the victory tap. And hold on, here it goes. Bam!
Colonel
are we
Chivers,
describing
Orion's.
the double tap?
The victory tap. That lets your whole team know that you got that piece.
Colonel Chivers, Orion's puzzle play will be analyzed for years to come.
I think that's pretty accurate.
Triple victory tap.
I
Yeah.
saw a triple victory tap.
Let's take
3
a moment.
taps.
Just watch the precision of Andrew here. Like wait for him to get a piece and just watch how he goes.
I
goes
see
ahead.
what you're saying. He finds the piece, scans. It's got to go here. Gives it a quick rotate. If it doesn't go in easy, moves on.
I was attributing that to Locke, and I still think he has that. But I didn't realize that Andrew was such a pro. I mean, I knew he was because I just thought they were both.
Yeah.
Here he goes.
He's got
He's
okay.
got
Watch
a piece.
this.
He's trying to fit it.
Look at this scan.
He's trying
Look at that
every
scan.
he's trying
Nope,
every
nope.
possible edge.
But he doesn't waste time.
At
Look,
the same
and he's-
time, he's filling with his other hand.
His left hand is
he knows. He knows
feeling
he
the
can't move that now.
texture.
Yeah.
He was even touching parts of the map that are already filled in.
You know, I'm starting to believe that Andrew
only-
is not a human being. He must be a reptile of some kind.
I think both of these teams may be
Yes, to be.
cybernetic reptiles.
Yeah. It's got to be it.
Some combination of the two.
I think you put it very eloquently in that it's like watching an AI piece together a puzzle.
yeah,
It's very much like
I
that.
think they could beat any artificial
Locke
intelligence.
Yes.
he gave a 2-tap victory tap to that piece he just put
They're
in.
they're like playing against the computer on expert mode.
Yeah,
That's
basically.
what they are.
I mean, we're gonna start to see a lot more victory taps as they have now secured their victory.
I think they're well aware. The Ballers, I don't know what happened to them, but they've
They've
slowed down
completely
tremendously.
unglued.
I
I
gotta,
think that
I
they're
gotta
giving
say,
up a
I
little
think
bit.
we can't see right now. It's a little bit cut off, but I feel like they do have a little bit more of the top put together than
I think they
previously.
got the top put together.
They
If
do,
they
definitely.
push it back down, they also have that bottom corner connected. So if they can connect the whole border, there is a chance that maybe
Whoa!
it looks like Mosh is just completely.
What is
getting
going on? Wait! What is going
It
on
looks
back
like
there?
there's no playing for second place in Mosh's mind.
Complete active aggression from Mosh.
Okay, Josh is very
Josh
upset
is very
at
upset.
what Mossy's just done.
Looks like there's trouble in
this
paradise
is-
for
this
Team
is-
Mosh.
This is terrible.
This may be the
teamwork.
last time we see this team together ever again.
All of that work has gone down the drain. Mossy's
Is he gonna
just-
do it? Is he?
Wow.
Wow.
This
Okay.
is more
Mosh's
shocking than when
tears
Shawn Michaels
preview
kicked
picture.
Marty Jannetty.
This is terrible. This is terrible teamwork. And ladies and
Wow.
gentlemen, this is not something that you want. This is not an example you want to live by.
I have to be honest. It's just.
If
poor,
you wanna live
it's-
by any
it's just
example-
poor sportsmanship.
Now
That
we-
is poor sportsmanship. That's poor policy. That is the absolute most disgraceful thing I've ever seen in Zelda Dungeon puzzle history. If you want to live by any kind of example, live by the Orion Project, or live by
Or even
the
by the
Ballers.
Ballers.
The Ballers
Gaul.
are
Who
The
are
Gaul.
ages behind, and
You
they
see
are
what they're
still.
doing? You see
Look
what they're
here.
doing now? They're
bringing in their
disrespecting-
border.
They're disrespecting the integrity of this entire process.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
all of that work gone to
Look at
SHIT,
this.
and I can just. Mossy, that was disgraceful.
I think the story.
You see what we just did, Joe?
that was disrespectful.
Oh, we saw.
We saw.
No, after that.
No.
Oh, never mind.
I think the story
It'll be in
tomorrow.
the replay.
The story tomorrow on Sports Center is going to be,
Your beverages.
of course, about the amazing play by Orion Project, but also the disrespect from Mosh.
We just took some shots. Oh my god. I need something.
But what else will be on the cover of the sports section will be the amazing.
You know what
Josh.
it's gonna be? It's gonna be a picture of the Orion Project working in perfect harmony.
But also,
Juxtaposed against a picture of a torn preview photo.
and two boys rather
Yeah,
Two-
two boys.
taking
Well,
shots
but
over
let's
what is
not
now
forget-
a
Did we ever
crumbled
figure
mess.
out what the Orion Project even means?
It doesn't
Like,
matter.
they
It means
put-
dominance.
I think
It
it's
means
above all of
absolute
us, to be honest.
it's a secret.
Poning
It's
of
a secret
everyone else.
CIA term. They're both plants
Listen.
set here to.
Orion.
So
This is shameful act right here. Josh, I could see the frustration in your face when this was going on.
How does a person just break apart a puzzle like that?
I don't imagine that you will be choosing this as your partner in any future endeavors when it comes to puzzles.
I said this was a more shocking moment than when Shawn Michaels kicked Marty Jannetty through the glass window.
It is very much more shocking moment. The Orion Project, obviously they're going to win, but that is disrespectful to this puzzle business.
I think it's directly disrespectful to the Ballers. If I'm going to be honest,
Absolutely
they could
right.
connect the
We
border right
should
now.
not take away from the incredible sportsmanship of the Ballers.
The Ballers are still after it after this entire time, facing adversity. Mossy's being the sour puss that he is,
You can
has
see-
tore up the entire puzzle.
You can see they also, in the time that we've been talking, they've pieced together some of the clouds and they got it connected to the egg, which is going to connect to the top.
Absolutely.
Once they push it together, it's just filling in the blanks.
The Ballers are truly living up to their namesake in
They are
terms
ballers.
of sportsmanship. They're ballers,
They are ballers.
in here.
Ballers in
Where it
here.
matters.
Ballers in here. No matter what's going on, I think that these two teams are highly respectful. That looks like the Horsemen were there. They took a dump on that table, and they left that.
And you know what the worst of this all is? Mossy's has all these framed puzzles. He's probably gonna frame one of these puzzles that he didn't even complete.
Absolutely, you're absolutely right, Gooey.
The nerve.
He's
And that
probably
would
gonna.
just be shame on his wall.
I guarantee you, in 2021, that puzzle right there is going to be up on one of these walls.
They might have to take the eagle picture down.
Absolutely.
Shame on his
That is
wall.
very shameful.
I don't know how he'll come down here and look at that every day. Wow.
It really, you hate to see that. You hate to see it.
Yeah, maybe he'll frame his failure.
The frustration was mounting over the course of the last hour and 25 minutes. But really, Mosh, they had a very good second place lead going.
We thought
and,
they had a chance, yeah.
They definitely had a chance if they had just kept it up and kept their heads in the game. But Gooey, in the very beginning, we said that it was probably a mistake having one person work on one section and one person work on the other. Halfway through this entire thing, we said we were wrong. We were like, they had a great idea going.
And right as we speak, the Ballers are
Now
connecting
we see that we were right in the beginning.
In a sense, yeah.
Right as we speak, the Ballers are connecting their border.
There we go.
Look at the Ballers. They have,
Beautiful border.
in the past 30 seconds, they have assembled more than we thought they had this entire time.
I think the key with the Orion project was they were working on the border, but it kind of felt like they were both working on it at the same time.
Absolutely. Well,
But they weren't getting in each other's way.
The Orion Project, the team of Locke and Andrew, is just something really. I don't even know how to explain it. It's just they are so in tandem that they have absolutely killed this puzzle.
I honestly think it's not even a matter of external communication at that point. They just need to sync up to the same network.
They are.
They are on the
same
cloud.
Their brains are literally linked together. They
they're on the
haven't
same
said a
network.
word this whole time.
They're on the
They've
same
just-
wavelength.
The
right now.
microchips that the CIA has planted within them are fully functional. They've been activated for one thing, and that's
true.
to assemble puzzles.
They're ready. Yeah.
There is a secret government lab where they're developing
They're
puzzle
They're
assembling
producing
humans.
Locks and Andrews.
and
By the dozens. There's at least 24 models of Locke
Yeah.
out in the world right
If-
now,
if you
and
come
33
across one-
Andrews.
don't approach it. Just contact the authorities.
Yeah, they're not meant to be out there, actually.
Guys, there's a third hand over here. Is this Mossy's? Is he actually assembling this puzzle?
Hold on.
The Orion Project?
That's,
because I don't agree
Is
with
he
that at all.
trying to piggyback
I don't agree
off
with
of
that
the
at all.
success of
He's
the
gonna
Orion
tear
project?
down the team of
Oh
Mosh.
yeah, he's just
You know what he's
chilling
doing?
on the table right now.
You know what he's
just-
doing? He's doing this so that he can say, "Yeah, I put together this puzzle."
When he hangs it up.
What a piece of trash Moss is.
And
What a
we
piece
better
of
not
trash.
see a victory tap.
No, there better not be one victory tap.
What he should be is helping out the poor ballers who he just took a crap all over by disrespecting.
took a high
the acts
dump
of
on the
Absolutely
Ballers, but instead he's going to go over here. He's going to help the winning team, the clear winning team, just so he can say he had a hand in it,
Yes.
which obviously he didn't. He spent
No,
more
he
time tearing up this puzzle he's ever
I don't
had
think
working
he's
on
put
this
in
one.
a piece yet. Oh, he got one.
Yeah. Oh, and look, a little victory tap.
Ladies
Of
and
course.
gentlemen, I apologize. This is such a shameful sight.
Unsportsmanlike
Um,
conduct.
Very unsportsmanlike conduct. Just I don't even know, you know. I don't even know how to explain what I'm seeing right now. It's shameful. It's shameful.
He
He's
will
rushing-
not be on the record as on
Rushing
this team.
to get it finished so that he can say, I put in
I just
pieces
want.
of this puzzle.
Well, what I think I'm trying to do is I think he's trying to work towards a disqualification.
He's gonna hit time because they're about to get time.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Listen, I think that the narrative will be for all of those out there who have viewed the 2020
Time.
Zelda Dungeon Marathon.
They
that
high five.
Mossy's was a
Mossy's just
disgusting
No.
piece of trash when it came to this Zelda puzzle business. Poor old Josh back here worked his keister off, and Mossy's just totally abandoned him, tore up the puzzle, went to the winning team. I won't say went to another team. He went to the winning team, just so he can have some kind of glory in this whole thing.
Yeah.
It's shameful. This is
What do we
absolutely
say, What do we
shameful.
say we grab some of the competitors for some interviews?
We should try to. While the Ballers is still working, right? We should try to get the Orion project to come in and.
I'm gonna have to go throw up, ladies and gentlemen.
We talked-
because
we
this
talked
has made
to
me
Moss.
so sick. I'm gonna have to go throw up.
Well, we need you to interview the Orion project.
I have to interview him.
Yeah.
Gooey, that's your job.
Oh. Shirking responsibility.
We have the Orion project coming as we speak.
All right, Corey. Hopefully you got some good questions.
Come on and join us over.
Great.
All right.
Nice. We got some
Welcome to the couch, Orion project.
So I don't think it's an understatement to say that was an impressive display that we all just saw.
I have a question. Just what was your out of the box, your early strategy when you started putting it together? What were you guys saying to each other, and what was your goal?
So the strat was to obviously filter out edge pieces,
Okay.
and we wanted to throw out the blues for a while.
Okay.
And link. So like the first two projects were the edges and link.
Okay.
Throw out the blues and
That-
then.
And as we were filtering them out, we kind of divided the two colors of blue and then everything else.
Okay.
So that seems to be a similar strategy to what some of the other
I
teams
think
are
most of the
doing.
teams were doing that, but you guys definitely.
Yes.
It looked like you had the most efficient route of that. And
We also started actually putting the border together as we were filtering.
yes.
That's
I-
something that
yeah.
Joey has been mentioning for a few minutes now, is that it seemed like you guys were both
working on the same. You were working on different projects, but working on the same projects at the same time.
You felt like you were on the same page as we were watching it. Like we were seeing.
We were
one-
definitely passing pieces to each other.
Yeah.
And we kind of swapped back fourth of the way through. Or a couple times. We
swapped
we
a
were
couple times.
Try to keep things fresh.
now, especially in the beginning. It seems like from what I've been hearing, Mosh
Definitely had a similar strategy to what you guys had, but we've been theorizing up here that you guys are just connected on some sort of inhuman network where you don't even have to verbally.
We saw the
communicate. You're just
sparks.
on the same wavelength.
I'm frankly kind of surprised that they let us.
Yeah.
You hear that, folks? Shocked that this team was even allowed to happen.
Mas is he's over it. He's singing some stupid song in the back right now.
Oh yeah,
Now,
he's
on that note,
he's
we need
under
to bring up
over.
Mossy's.
How do you feel about Mossy's jumping in the last minute and trying to piggyback
I was-
off of your success?
I was really irritated by that.
We were
Yeah,
very
I
irritated
actually-
by it.
I'm not sure if you.
I
if
felt
you
like
saw,
our
I'm not
win
sure if you
was
saw the events that transpired.
Cut.
But once you guys brought down the top,
And
That was like a tombstone pile driver to everybody else.
that was the end. But once Mossy saw what happened,
He ripped up his puzzle.
You said
Took
GG.
the preview picture, tore it in front of the camera.
A
and
great
then he and
active
Josh took
disrespect
shots
to the sport.
right in front of the puzzle. Yeah, I don't know what you guys think, but to me that's just unsportsmanlike conduct.
Well, he was pretty emotionally invested, I would say. He
was.
wanted to come out on top this time.
That was a factor we discussed
He
this whole time.
specifically mentioned to us before he started that he's never won a puzzle.
Oh, so it's
I
clearly
mean,
on his mind.
if he's never won a puzzle and he really wants to win, he's just joined my team.
Yeah.
Yeah,
We've got the guy who's never won a puzzle, and we've got the guy who's never lost a puzzle. So.
Yeah, we noticed, like, one thing we thought was your team doesn't seem to have an ego, like, at least outwardly. Like, there didn't seem to be a drive of, like, you know, we have to win this. Whereas Mossy it's just, you can see it on his face, in his actions. Like, the desperation to win shows, and I think that got involved there, too. It held him down a little bit. But it was disrespectful to come and finish your puzzle or try to...
Oh, here he is now.
Oh, Lord.
And also disrespectful to the ballers. Who are here
sure.
showing up for the first time.
And they haven't given up. They're still
This is
still
a
working
good snapshot.
That about sums it up. Yeah.
I will say, I think this was the biggest landslide in the history of Zelda Dungeon. Not even
just
talking
puzzles?
puzzles, no. The biggest landslide in the history of Zelda Dungeon.
I was nervous because I heard a comment.
I think this was bigger than Blake
toward the beginning
beating me in Adventure of Link in 2014.
What
where I
had
think
you
he wanted to
nervous,
beat Adventure of Link and
Twice.
Legend of
Oh,
Zelda
yeah.
before I beat Adventure of Link. Like, where he doubled my time.
I was looking over a few times towards like the first half, and I was getting kind of scared because I saw things coming together, and then I just like I stopped looking over and I just focused.
That's what we're talking about, the ego, the lack of ego.
Something, I was back there with the ballers for about an hour or so, and that's something that I mentioned when I came up here, is that the nerves of just having your competitors on either side of you and thinking, how are they doing? How are they doing? Yeah. It really gets to you.
That I think was tough for the ballers who are all first-time puzzle goers to, you know, adjust. Alright, Moss is over.
Yeah, I heard a comment. I didn't know it was going to be this competitive.
Oh. Yeah, no, we thought for a while, it seemed a little bit closer a while on. You guys were definitely clearly in the lead for most of it, but then there hit a point where I think when you got your mountain going, that it was
That
like,
was... I blinked and Andrew put the mountain together. Like, I didn't
that's
know he was
exactly
working on
what
it.
happened from our... We thought, oh, they must have had it off cam, you know, because there's some stuff off camera that we're aware of. But we're like, where did that come from?
What time are we supposed to?
I don't know. 1, I think? Or, yeah, I think it was supposed to be 1.
Supposed to be 1.
I think we should start Tingle like now.
Oh, okay.
Alright, well,
Alright.
great. What a great puzzle.
Alright, well, thank you everyone for watching and listening to our commentary over here. We're sorry for the unsportsmanlike conduct from
Yeah, we hope to never see that
certain
again.
plays.
Who is unsportsmanlike? Let me take care of it. I make sure that won't happen ever
Talk
again.
to them. Talk to them. and
Okay,
see.
we'll talk
give him
off
a
camera
seat,
so you
though.
can let me know so I can deal with this in private. We don't tolerate that here at Zelda Dungeon. We play with
No,
sportsmanship
definitely not.
first and foremost. So I'm going to get down to the bottom of this, and whoever's responsible, I will take care of them personally. Thank you.
You heard it.
Let's play some Tingle.
Yeah.
Tingle time.